You ever see a public project, a road repair, a new school, and just wonder, why is this taking so long? Well, a huge part of the answer is actually hidden in plain sight, inside the paperwork that controls how our money gets spent. Okay, so today we're going to dive in and unpack the surprisingly complex world of public bidding.
So to really get a handle on this process, we first have to see what the government is actually buying. And it's not as abstract as you might think. We actually got our hands on a public bidding document from the province of Davao del Norte in the Philippines, and it gives us this fascinating, real-world peek.
And here it is. I mean, look at this list. We're talking about everything from meals for a health training event to over 100 sacks of rice for an environmental project, all the way to more than 1 million pesos worth of medicines and even textbooks for little kids. This is the real, tangible stuff that public money pays for. But see that last column, ABC? What's that all about?
Well, the ABC, or approved budget for the contract, is the absolute price ceiling. Just think of it like this. The government decides the maximum it's willing to pay before it even looks at a single offer. So if a company bids even 1 peso over that ABC, their proposal is immediately out. It is the first and biggest rule in this whole game. Okay, so how does the government go from needing, say, those textbooks to actually getting them into classrooms? Well, there's a very specific playbook for that. A whole multi-step journey designed to be as fair and transparent as possible. Let's walk through it. It all kicks off with a public invitation to bid. Simple enough. Then there's a conference where anyone interested can ask questions to get all the details straight. Next, companies submit their sealed bids, and this is key. They're opened in public, so everybody sees the same thing at the same time. After a super detailed evaluation and one last background check on the winner, the contract is finally signed. As you can tell, every single stage is built for maximum oversight. And who's overseeing this whole journey? That would be the BAC, or the Bids and Awards Committee. These are the government officials who basically act as the referees. They manage the process and make sure every single person is playing by the rules.
Now, those steps might sound pretty straightforward, right? But in practice, they are anything but. That's because the entire process is wrapped up in this dense web of laws and regulations. It's a legal maze that every single bidder has to navigate perfectly.
And the master key to this maze is a law called Republic Act 9184, also known as the Government Procurement Reform Act. Its whole purpose is to make sure public money is spent properly, right? To stop corruption and make sure we get the best value. This one law dictates every single move the BAC and the bidders can make.
And this is what it actually looks like to navigate that legal maze. This quote is pulled right from the bidding document. Okay, just forget all the jargon for a second. What it's really saying is that a company has to prove it's already handled a similar contract worth at least half the budget of this project. It's a rule to weed out inexperienced bidders, which makes sense, but you can just see how buried it is in that precise, totally unforgiving legal language. So what we've got is a very detailed process, governed by a very complex law, all for a really good reason. But this is also exactly where those delays, the ones that frustrate all of us, can start to creep in. So let's look at the common hurdles. And to understand these hurdles, we're not just guessing. A brand new academic review from 2024 analyzed the persistent challenges in Philippine public procurement, and it dug into exactly where and why the system gets so bogged down. The study found 4 big recurring themes where problems pop up: the legal framework itself, the skills of the people involved, the purchasing methods they choose, and that step-by-step process we just looked at. And you know what's interesting? It's that first one, the legal framework, that often creates the biggest paradox. And this right here perfectly illustrates the core problem. The legal framework, the very rules designed to stop corruption, can also be the source of the delays. The whole process is what you'd call non-discretionary. It's a strict pass or fail. If a bidder misses just one document from a super long checklist, they can be immediately disqualified. And that can slow everything down, or even force the whole process to start all over again. So we've got this careful, rule-bound process on one side and the real-world challenges that slow it down on the other. What does this actually mean for you and me? Let's connect the dots.
On one side, you have the plan, right? The one laid out in the bidding documents, a system that is built for fairness and accountability. But on the other side, you have the hurdles that the research points out, a system where that very same accountability can create massive bottlenecks. The ideal of a perfectly fair process just runs headfirst into the messy reality of getting things done.
And here's the bottom line.
When the process for buying drugs and medicines gets held up by some legal hiccup or a paperwork mistake, it isn't just a bureaucratic problem. It means a real delay for real people who are waiting for those exact medicines at their local health center. The slowdown has a direct human impact.
Which really leaves us with the big, central question at the heart of all public service, doesn't it? How do we build a system that is strict enough to shut down corruption and guarantee fairness, but also fast and flexible enough to deliver the things we all need without these frustrating delays? That, right there, is the balance that governments are constantly, desperately trying to find.